I am Unondumiso, and today we are answering the question, why do I sin? Many other times, Paul, we find ourselves doing wrong willingly and at times not willingly, and we therefore beg the question, ukuthi kahle kahle, why do I find myself doing wrong? And that is what we are answering today. Okay, Kebandase, I would like for us to start now by reading the book of 1 John chapter 1 verse 8. It reads, "If we say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us." If we say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. Please note, ukuba here it did not say sins. It was not a plural, but it said sin, and that is because it is not talking about the acts of sin, but it is talking about the nature of sin, which is called the sin nature. So what is the sin nature? The sin nature is what causes one to commit those acts of sin. It comes with the will and the power to do wrong, or to do that which is against the will of God. That is the sin nature. So what causes us to do wrong is the nature of sin that is in us. Now, where did we get the sin nature? This sin nature, we were born with it. Okay, let us go to the beginning. Okay, Gabandase, so what happened? In the beginning, there was Adam, there was Eve. Those people were not born with sin. Actually, they were not created with sin. So in them, there was no sin. Actually, what they had was the divine nature, the nature of God. And then, so they lived in perfect harmony with the Lord. And then what happened, we know the story. They were in the garden, and then there was the tree that is of knowledge of good and evil, which they were instructed and commanded by the Lord not to eat from. So he gave them access to everything in the garden, to all the trees, but besides this one. And he said to them, if you eat from this tree, you will surely die. Okay, we know it most about Adam and Eve ate from the tree, but they did not die. Like, they continued to live and have children such as Cain and Abel and it. Okay, so what did the Lord mean when he said they would die? He meant that they would die spiritually. He meant that they would be separated from him, because Galukbanda said death is not extinction, it is separation. So when he said they would die, he meant that his nature would leave them, and then they would be the sin nature in them, which is the cause of death. And indeed they died because they were separated from the Lord. Now, this sin was not only on Adam and Eve, but it was in their seed, meaning everyone born after them or from their loins would be, or would have rather, the sin nature. Do you remember Galoku David saying in Psalms, in the book of Psalms, saying, I was conceived in sin, meaning the sin thing, you are born with it, not that you acquire it at a later stage in life. One is not taught to sin, Bandasi, but it is just something that comes, that you were born with. An example would be a child. You know, when there's a child going, or at your home or in your family, and then, for instance, let's say there's sugar in the cupboard, or there's sweets or whatever. Now you'll find a child who still crawls, they will go to that cupboard with sweets or with sugar, and you'll find them eating that. But you'll find them locked inside, or they have closed the cupboard door and they're eating. And when you ask them, what are you doing? They'll be like, I'm not doing anything. Or you'll you'll be like, did you eat the sugar or did you take the sweets? And they will deny it and say no. But now the question is, who taught them to lie? Have you ever sat them down and tell them that this is how you deny something, or this is how you tell lies? No, it just happened automatically. They were able to deny, they were able to lie because they were born into sin. They were born with it. So that is imvelo, yes or no? That is the sin nature. You are born with it. And that's why, because we inherited that from our forefathers, Ubani or Adam. So what happens when one gets born again? They receive the divine nature, Bandas. And which divine nature? The same divine nature that was taken away from them when in the Garden of Eden. And it got to you will die, you will surely die. And what happened is that the nature of the Lord it was separated from them. They were separated from the Lord. And because we agreed most earlier that death is not extinction, but it is separation. So they died in that manner. They died spiritually. So also in the term itself, which says born again, which means we receive new life. That's why born again, meaning we were born, but at the first time we were born into sin. But now we are being born again. We are receiving the divine nature, which is the nature of the Lord. What is the divine nature? It is the nature that comes with the will and the power to live for God. It comes with the will and the power to live for God. Is sin nature, what was it? The sin nature, it comes with the will and the power to sin. You find a person saying like, oh Paul, I want to do good, but I find myself not being able to do good. Why? There it is because the sin nature now is ruling in the person's life. Why? Because it's either they do not have the divine nature which comes with the will and the power, or else the divine nature has been weakened. Now, when we said that when you get born again, what happens is that you receive the divine nature. But do not get me wrong, Bandas, of which is where most people in churches who believe that they are perfect, that is where we would not agree. Because when you get born again, sin nature does not leave you. Sin nature is there. However, it is just weakened. So ipeleliswe amandla. The power that it had over you, it becomes weakened. And when divine nature comes in your life, it comes in already having strength. So it comes in having power and strength, and therefore automatically the sin nature is weakened. What we need to know, Bandasa, is that sin nature and the divine nature are inversely proportional. When one is strengthened, the other is weakened. When the other is weakened, the other is strengthened. So we need to make sure that at all times it is the divine nature that has strength and is strengthened in our lives. The moment that when you are born again but still find yourself not making mistakes, but as in you are chilling in sin, as in sin after sin, you are living in sin, that means you have allowed the sin nature to regain its strength, and you have allowed the divine nature to be weak in your life. That is what causes a person who is already born again, because the divine nature came in being strong already, which means you are the one who allowed the sin nature to get its strength back, meaning and that weakens the strength of the divine nature. Now, one may ask, why did the Lord not just remove the sin nature rather than having it torment us in this way? It is because he has allowed it to stay as a disciplinary measure. Because Tina, if the sin nature would have been removed, besizopapa, We were going to be people with a lot of pride. We were going to be people who have even forgotten that it was the Lord who saved us. It is a measure for us to remain just like Mary by the feet of Jesus. It is a measure for us to remain by the foot of the cross. It is what helps us to make sure that our faith is never moved from the cross of Christ, from the sacrifice of Christ, because that is where our victory lies. So the moment now we start moving or shifting our faith from what Christ did on the cross and focusing on ourselves, you will see what will happen is that the sin nature will get its strength back and you will fail. You will not live a victorious life over sin and the flesh. So Gebanda said that is what causes us to sin. It is the sin nature, and Mdase, it is in you. And if when you believe that actually you have no sin, go and read 1 John 1:8, which says that you are actually deceiving yourself and the truth is not in you, because all of us have the sin nature. So when you see a person being born again or not, when a person is not living a life, a victorious life, a life that is free from sin, that is because they are overpowered by what? The sin nature. And at all times in our lives, we ought to allow, or we ought to have the divine nature having strength more than the sin nature. Now, how do you weaken your divine nature? By not studying the word. If you are not studying the word, so you are weakening yourself. If you are not praying, if you have no communion, you do not have any communication with the Lord, then you are weakening your divine nature. And then there, by sin nature, how do we strengthen it? The music we listen to, Bandas, is it anointed? We are going to talk about music on another day. Do the things we watch, the things we read, the way we spend our time, is it more favorable on your spiritual life, or does it weaken your spiritual life, or it strengthens it? Because so we need to remember, as we once said before, that it is your responsibility to protect your spiritual life, and it is your responsibility to protect your heart. Thank you for watching. Do like, comment, subscribe, and share. We will see each other in the next video.